So here's the new manual rack. It's a quick ratio deal. After we just put the bushings in. What I should mention is that I saw a lot of people talking about when they converted to manual that they didn't have enough engagements of the threads for the outer tie rods. And somebody actually measured them, and they said that the manual rack was 42.5 inches and the power rack was 45 inches. Well, this was billed as a quick ratio 15:1 rack for a Fox chassis. And I measured the inner tie rods end to end, and they are 45 inches. So that's a bit of good news for me. I had to go to 2 different part stores and buy 2 different brands of outer tie rod ends because these things aren't stocked. So what we have here primarily is Advance Auto and AutoZone. So Advance Auto sells this outer tie rod end. I think it was around 22, 23 bucks. The brand is DriveWorks, which I think is a intensely stupid name for a brand. But this one looks pretty good. It's got these 4 flats here. It's actually pre-threaded for a Zerk. This is totally empty at the moment. And it's stiff enough where I can't move it. And of course, it comes with the necessary hardware. So, towards that end, let's go ahead and screw this in. Now, it should also be noted that I already did go and measure the old rack from grease point to grease point. It was 52 to 52.25 inches. That should be enough to get us into the ballpark. So, of course, first thing we got to put on here is the jam nut. Let's go ahead and open this. Yeah, it's a little crusty feeling. Is it the nut? Is it the tie rod? Don't know. Don't care. What's going on? Now I did notice on the power rack that the tie rod ends protruded inside this section. So, you know, it's safe to say that we're going to have that much engagement. Try to center this up a little bit. Must have been the nut because the tie rod end is going on easy. And in this orientation, this is the back of the car, that's the front of the car. So tie rod end to be up would be like so. But let's go ahead and try to get it on a little further and see where we do fall at 52 to 52.25 inches. That should get us close enough. I intend to do the string method for alignment. It does an excellent job, surprisingly excellent job. And I don't have to worry about people damaging my rims. That has happened, as well as the inconvenience factor, of course. Alright, so we're starting to see, I don't know if you can make that out, the inner tie rod protruding inside. Now, typically, I would put anti-seize on something like this. I'm debating whether I should or not. What's interesting is, now that I'm looking at this, there is no flat actually to grab this thing, and that is awfully tight for adjustment purposes. Now, the way you adjust it, of course, is you turn this. I might have to make some modifications. These things are just held down with zip ties, so that might have to happen here. Let's turn on our pseudo DRO, and probably somewhere in the ballpark of 600 RPM. I'm going to go down until we just touch. So there we go. So we are going to zero that out. And we're going to go down, let's say 10,000. Let's turn this up, it seems a little slow. Closer to about 1,000. And this mill is loud, by the way. $10,000, I think we could go considerably faster. That sounds better. That's 20,000. Alright, that's 40,000. And now another 5. I think that's going to be adequate to give us a flat. So I've been trying to figure out how to get this 90 degrees. I don't have all the fancy fixturing and stuff because I'm not a professional machinist, but I do have a plan. I cut out this little piece of scrap steel. If that sits, first make sure it's not sitting on the rubber part. If we get that right in the flat that we've made against the parallel, when we tighten the vise, it's going to automatically register this 90 degrees. Look at that. Now we can cut the top of it. I could care less, it's a piece of scrap. But now it's exactly 90 degrees. We're going all the way to 45,000 this time. We are just going to use this same technique to go all the way around. Alright, we've milled all the flats. We've put some anti-seize on the threads here. That's to help lubricate as well as protect from corrosion. I found that this stuff actually doesn't go away really. But we're going to just drive it to maybe about 1/2 inch is sticking out. Because you know we're going to end up having to adjust this thing. This stuff is the cow's balls for sealing. It will seal gas, diesel, kerosene, pressure. This is actually the only thing I use on my electric water pump. I don't even have a gasket. I use this stuff. It never hardens. It's fantastic, but you have to mail order it. It's Loctite 565 thread sealant. Get you some. So just a little dab here. Not going to take much. But really, I mean, the point, I don't even really need to do this. It's just the grease will liquefy a little bit over time. Ooze out the bottom. I happen to have this stuff handy, so why not, right? It never hardens, but they say it will immediately seal something like 75 psi or something the second you put it in. That ought to do it. Ironically, I found my grease gun by the shmoo that it had leaked. So, this thing is ancient. I hope it still has grease. Seems like it does. There we go. Okay. I would say that is one well-greased zerk. Don't be such a zerk. Cubic zerk. Never mind. I need to stop on my head. Alright. So that's side one done. And we'll flip it around and do it again. Just, well, this one's here though. I'm not going to bore you with the second one. We've assembled the rack. We've measured the spacing from tie rod to tie rod of the old rack to the new rack. And did our best to match everything up. We should be ready to slip this thing in place. I forgot how nasty the old power rack is. Everything down here is just kind of filthy. Well, that wasn't terrible. This is gonna suck. Here's the one. Let's put a washer on it. I'm really hoping you can see this. This side has no light on it. You probably can't see it, but same kind of deal. Washer. Nuts. Easier to push than pull. There we go. Castle nuts. The camera is inconveniently located for this. Alright. Doesn't have to be crazy balls tight. That's probably adequate. Cotter pin through. There you have it. We're just going to center the wheels up, put the wheels on the ground, and lower the car.